Welcome back to another explainer. You know, we love taking these insanely complex systems and breaking them down into clear, visual blueprints. Today, we're diving deep into the microscopic factories that literally keep us alive. Yep, we're exploring the cell membrane and core organelles. So let's just jump right in. So think about a massive manufacturing plant for a second. If you just threw all the workers, the raw materials, and the machinery into one giant empty room, it'd be absolute chaos, right? Yet inside your body right now, individual eukaryotic cells are managing energy production, protein synthesis, and waste removal all at the exact same time. How do they pull off thousands of tasks at once without constantly crashing into each other? Well, the secret is in their structure. They are, quite frankly, the ultimate biological efficiency hackers. Just look at the breathtaking complexity of the animal cell. It's really important to notice that this isn't just some basic balloon filled with fluid, it's highly compartmentalized. We call these internal compartments organelles, which literally translates to little organs. And because most of these organelles are membrane-bound, they can maintain completely unique, isolated environments from the rest of the cell. They're constantly communicating, passing materials back and forth, all working together to keep the whole operation alive.
Okay, here's our agenda for today's explainer. 1. Why organelles actually matter. 2. The dynamic cell membrane. 3. The nucleus control center. 4. The organelle assembly line. And finally, 5. The complete protein pathway.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Why Organelles Actually Matter.
Here's the deal. Complex life absolutely requires a strict separation of duties. Organelles massively increase a cell's efficiency simply by separating processes. By keeping different chemical reactions locked away inside membrane-bound structures, the cell can run multiple, and sometimes completely conflicting, reactions at the exact same time without them interfering with each other. It's brilliant. This separation helps the cell maintain homeostasis, a stable internal environment, by tightly regulating what happens and where. Ultimately, this internal organization is exactly what allows cells to become specialized within multicellular organisms, like us. Moving right along to Section 2, the dynamic cell membrane. So every factory needs security and a receiving dock, right? Well, right at the cellular border, there's a specialized division of labor handling exactly that. And the membrane isn't just made of one material. It's a really complex matrix of 4 main components. First up, the phospholipids. They form your basic bilayer structure. Now, because they have hydrophilic or water-attracting heads that face outward and hydrophobic water-repelling tails that face inward, they create this natural barrier that stops a lot of substances from just crossing over. Next, we have membrane and transport proteins embedded right into that layer. Think of these as the factory doors, transporting specific things that can't pass through the lipid barrier on their own. Then there's cholesterol. This is tucked right between the phospholipids to maintain stability, ensuring the membrane doesn't get too rigid or too fluid. And finally, carbohydrate chains. These stick out from the exterior surface, acting kind of like ID tags so cells can recognize and communicate with each other. All this complexity brings us to a super important concept in biology, the fluid mosaic model. You really shouldn't think of the cell membrane as a rigid brick wall. Actually, scratch that. It's highly flexible, selectively permeable, and constantly moving. The phospholipids can shift side to side, giving the whole membrane this fluid, almost ocean-like quality, while the proteins just float within it, like tiles in a shifting, dynamic mosaic.
Check out how that blue phospholipid bilayer forms that central fluid sea. And embedded all across it are those large purple and blue proteins acting as those absolutely crucial transport channels. If you look at the surface, extending upward, you can see those branching carbohydrate chains waving around almost like antennas, trying to recognize neighboring cells. It is just a perfectly engineered, selectively permeable border. All right, let's head deeper inside. Section 3, the Nucleus Control Center.
Welcome to the boss's office. Here we find the nuclear membrane. It's this thick, double-layered shell protecting the absolute most precious cargo, the genetic material inside. Notice those little holes dotting the surface? Those are the nuclear pores. They act as highly secure exit doors for materials like RNA and proteins. Inside, suspended in a fluid we call nucleoplasm, is the chromatin. That's the uncoiled form of DNA containing all the genetic instructions. And right smack in the center is the nucleolus. That's the dense region where the cell's actual protein builders, the ribosomes, get assembled. Let's step out onto the factory floor. Section 4, the organelle assembly line. So if the nucleus holds the blueprints, this is where the actual building happens. Right outside the nucleus, we hit the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short, which actually comes in two totally distinct forms. First, the rough ER. It's completely covered in ribosomes, which read the genetic instructions to assemble amino acids. Because of all those ribosomes, it's got this bumpy, rough look to it. Its main gig is building, folding, and modifying newly made proteins, which are usually destined to be exported out of the cell or embedded into the membrane. Now, in stark contrast, the smooth ER has absolutely zero ribosomes attached. So instead of making proteins, it produces essential lipids like phospholipids and steroids. It also moonlights as a specialized chemical processing plant, detoxifying harmful substances and storing the calcium ions needed for cell signaling.
Looking at them side by side really helps. Over on the left, that dark purple structure is the rough ER. You can easily spot those tiny, dot-like ribosomes studded all over its folded layers. Then on the right, that light blue structure is the smooth ER, characterized by its smooth, interconnected tubular network. Two structures right next to each other, but with two entirely different manufacturing roles.
Okay, so once the rough ER builds and folds a protein, it sends it straight to the Golgi apparatus. You can think of the Golgi as the packaging and shipping center of the whole cell. It receives raw proteins and lipids from the ER, sorts them out, modifies them by adding or changing chemical groups, and then packages them up into these tiny little spheres called transport vesicles. The Golgi then directs exactly where these packages need to go, whether that's to another part of the cell or straight out the door through the membrane.
Let's tie it all together now. Section 5, the complete protein pathway. All right, let's trace this cohesive manufacturing process from start to finish. Every single protein starts with a command. Step 1, the nucleus directs the genetic instructions and sends them out via a messenger called RNA. Step 2, the ribosomes read those instructions and immediately start stringing together amino acids to build the initial raw protein chain. Step 3, the rough ER takes that raw chain, rapidly folds it into its proper shape, and modifies it. Step 4, the Golgi apparatus receives the folded protein, sorts it, packages it, and locks in its final destination. And finally, Step 5, transport vesicles carry the finished product right to the cell border, where they seamlessly fuse with that fluid mosaic membrane we talked about and push the protein right out to the rest of the body. It's amazing.
Just marvel at this entire 5-step cellular pathway in action. Going from left to right, you can literally trace the blueprint leaving the protective nucleus. It moves to the ribosomes for that initial construction, flows through the deep blue folds of the rough ER for modification, jumps over to the pink Golgi apparatus for packaging, and finally gets carried via vesicles right up to the phospholipid bilayer to be exported. It is a flawlessly coordinated assembly line.
So we pull all of this structural and functional knowledge together to arrive at one simple, really profound truth from our notes. Without organelles, life would not be possible. Just think about the sheer efficiency, the strict separation of tasks, the flawless handoff of materials from the nucleus all the way out through the cell membrane. This microscopic factory is running inside you trillions of times over, every single second. It really begs the question, if this much flawless engineering exists inside a single invisible cell, what other spectacular biological machinery is hiding right under your skin? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your focus sharp.